under tab 1-3. Ms. Hayes, how are you doing this afternoon?
So,
Doing well. I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the Board of Pharmacy. Do we get her mic on too?
is this on? Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't see it from here.
I'm a little short.
No, you're fine. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who you're talking to this afternoon, as well as just a couple things about this procedure. On this side of the table, we are all staff members here at the office. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready, who's our assistant director, Miss Ashley Bales, who's our legal counsel. The other side of the table, we have three of our 4 pharmacy board members that are here for the day, Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Brian Jolly, and then Dr. Lenore Newsom. Dr. Newsom's the chair of our informal conference. We're here. You have submitted an application to be a pharmacy technician in the state of Arkansas, and you let us know that something might come back on there. So you did check one of those boxes. That is what, in a moment, I'll have Ms. Bales give us an overview of, and then the board members are going to want to talk to you about that a little bit before they come up with some suggestion of what they would like to do with your application.
Mm-hmm.
Most important thing for you is whatever suggestion they come up with, you can either agree or disagree with. You agree with it, we go forth with whatever they suggest. If you disagree, then it's your chance to kind of either say, well, forget this, I'm not going to do pharmacy, or to request an appeal for a hearing before the full board, which we call a formal hearing. That would be 8 members of the board, a hearing officer, a court reporter. We swear everybody in as witnesses, and it's much more formal, and it looks a lot more like going to court. So I was asked 2 questions. Do you know why you're here today?
I do.
Have any questions about how this works?
Honestly, I am quite nervous, and I am very appreciative of the opportunity to be in front of you guys. I hate that it has to be under these type circumstances,
Sure.
but I am very nervous.
I understand. So here's the thing. I'll kick it over to Ms. Bales, but if you have any questions about how something's happening, like the procedure of the day, by all means, like wave your hands, get our attention, and we'll be happy to answer it for you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
We brought Ms. Haynes in to the informal committee today. She did disclose an arrest, but it was from October 8th, 2020 for possession of marijuana, charge of Class A misdemeanor. According to her statement, she was called out. She was in college and she was called out of class because campus police found marijuana sitting in her passenger seat of her car. She did go to court and was ordered to pay to be on probation and pay fines and court costs. Then on September 20th, 2021, she was charged with contempt of court. And eventually, July 1st, 2022, she was charged with failure to pay those old fines. Since then, from the court records, it looks like she's complied and the case was sealed.
The contempt of court, I had actually went to do my drug test at Mainline, but they didn't send in my information properly because it was another shift. And so because they didn't send in my information properly, it came back as a contempt to not being able to comply, which was actually false, and they ended up dropping that. Because I paid the fine. No, I didn't pay the fine on time, which was the mishap. I didn't have the funds to pay the fine on time because, like I said, I was in college. I was working multiple jobs. I had my own rent, car insurance, and stuff. So I wasn't able to pay the fine on time. But when I was able to pay the fine on time, I made sure I did everything that I was supposed to do.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
What happened
What
was-
were you thinking, having this stuff in your car, period?
I wasn't thinking.
But having it on campus?
I wasn't thinking. And I can say that, to be honest, I wasn't thinking. I was in the bad headspace around the time, some years ago, my dad had a bad car accident on my birthday. And it took me in a spiral, eventful place in life. And around that time when I found that and they found that in my car, that's when I ended up having to drop out of school. And now I'm really in a situation where I'm trying to rebuild myself because I know I am smarter and better than it. So I'm in a situation where I'm really trying to rebuild myself. But once you make one mistake, it's like it carries with you. And it's been carrying, and the weight is something that I've been carrying for so long that when I finally got it off me, it's still something that's trying to hold me back, and I refuse for it to let me hold me back. I worked very hard for this. It's something that, honestly, the reason why I wanted to get into pharmacy technician is because my friend did it, and I saw how enjoyable. She liked it, and it was like, okay, let me see what I can do. But she's currently not certified nationally, but she does have an Arkansas license. But my goal was to do it nationally so I can take it further and do more things with it. So I had took the class at UAM Adult Ed. I actually wanted to take it to another class, but I was gonna have to pay for it, which I didn't have the funds, but they said you can set up a payment plan. But I had ended up filling out something for a UAM Adult Ed, and the lady called me back and she was like, "Are you sure you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And it's something that I started when I found that I was pregnant. And so when I finished the course, I really had to put a pause on it because I had my baby. And so I had literally finished the course. I don't want to say it, but this is a medical fit breastfeeding. I was actually really breastfeeding as I took the final exam, and I was really stoned that I passed it because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, did I really just do this with my baby in my arm? And as I was doing, I'm like, maybe this is something I can teach him too. So I started teaching him little stuff, and he liked it.
So what happened to college?
What happened with college? My goal is to get back in school. I ran out of funds. I had my dad actually helped me through school, and I have no excuse of why I have not finished because it took me like 7 years, and I literally have 1 year left. And I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So I did the program for Future Teachers of America, and I've completed that course for 4 years, and I finished it as an outstanding member. And I used all the scholarship money that they gave me and all the other money that I had got from the federal aid. So I actually just ran out of funding. So now I'm actually trying to get back in school with the single parent scholarship because I have a 10-month-old. He'll be 11 months on the 25th. And seeing that innocent face look up at me every day, and I have to go to work every day, and it's very hard trying to provide for my kid. So this was my outlet to provide for my kid.
What type of work are you currently doing?
Right now, I'm currently at Walmart. I'm in claims. I had you had to take a drug test and do all these different type of standardized training for it. And so I did that. But before that, it took me a while to actually find a morning shift job. Because after I completed the course, I had called McGee Walmart Pharmacy, and the lady was so ready for me to get started. I had did the drug test. I went to Pine Bluff. I did the drug test. I did everything I was supposed to do. I did the fingerprint. I paid $30 for that. I was taking our word to make sure like everything that I was doing. I actually called Miss Ashley so many times. So it's really nice to actually see her face and Miss Christie face because I was calling like almost like literally once a month, every month. But I said, I'm gonna give it a break so I don't want to, be overwhelming myself with people not welcoming, as my elders would say. But yeah, I forgot where I was at, but right now I'm in claims, and I had did the job for McGee Walmart Pharmacy, and she was like, "I'm sorry, I can't get you in," because she wanted me to have my Arkansas license to get in, but I had to turn that job down. That's how I ended up in Walmart in claims, and I've been doing very well over there.
So you don't do the drugs anymore?
No, ma'am, that is not me. I am trying to do what I have to do to raise my child in a very stable environment, to break as many generation curses as I can, and just to make him smart because my baby loves books. We read every day. So I want him to see something outside of Walmart as a cashier. I want him to see stuff outside of his dad working for farms and stuff. So we just trying parents. I'm just a trying mom right now.
I'm guessing you don't have a medical marijuana card.
I do not have a medical marijuana card. No, I do not. I would like for y'all to know I would not disappoint this board. I would not disappoint this board. This is something that I have worked hard for months. I am doing my best to become a better mom and a better career woman. I would like to get back in school, but the funding is so hard for me right now. This was my outlet of getting a trade, so I can find different ways to get back in school. based off scholarship money, so whatever decision y'all make, I truly stand behind it. I just hope that the decision work in my favor because having my Arkansas license is a stepping stone that I need in life because I finally was able to complete something. And that feeling of completion, man, it feels so good. And then everybody be asking, why are you still at Walmart? I'm like, delayed never meant denied. So,
Well, that may be a good place for you to be because check into their, schooling program.
yes, ma'am.
So you got an ideal employer to stay there, work hard, and go to school also.
Yes, ma'am.
Like to make a motion to approve the license.
I'll second.
I have a, motion, by Dr. Bloom and a second by Dr. Jolly. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The motion passes. Question, how you pronounce your, first name?
Zakaria. It's a name you will never forget, I promise.
If you go out and you do well,
Thank you
You
so
go ahead
much.
and complete your education, you have the ability, you let something sitting in a seat distract you, and you see how poor it got you off track.
It has.
You have your degree by now.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a blessed day.
Yes.
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Maddox.
You will hit push and release it. It'll turn green. There we go. All right. Mr. Max, I'm John Kirkley. I'm the director of the pharmacy board, and we'll tell you kind of who all you're talking with this morning or this afternoon and a couple things about our procedure. On this side, we are all staff members. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our assistant director. Miss Ashley Bales is our legal counsel. That's how we have three of our pharmacy board members, Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Brian Jolly, and Dr. Lenore Newsom. Dr. Newsom is the chair of our informal conference. We're here today. It looks like you have submitted an application to be a pharmacy technician to get registered in the state of Arkansas. And you did let us know some stuff would pop back in your application so thank you for letting us know that.
Absolutely.
With that, in a moment, I'll let Ms. Bales give the board an overview of what was on the application or what we ran into, which they're just now getting on their little tablets here. And then they'll want to have a discussion with you about your application. At some point during that discussion, they're going to come up with some suggestion of what they would want to do with it. It could be to approve your application or deny your application, or say they would table it and reconsider at some future time. We don't know what they'll come up with until they do, but whenever they do come up with a decision, you can either agree or disagree with it. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever it is they've asked us to do as staff. If you disagree, you kind of have two choices. One would be to say, well, never mind, I'm not going to be in pharmacy and walk away from it. The other would be to request a hearing before the full board at a later date. That would be 8 members of the pharmacy board, a hearing officer, a court reporter. We swear everybody in as witnesses. It's just a more formal procedure where it looks a lot more like what you would see going to court.
Sure.
So I always ask two things. Do you understand why you're here today? And do you have any questions about how this works?
Absolutely. I understand why I'm here today. And if I do have one question, it is, should I be approved for the licensure? Would I still have to renew it on the first of the year?
But you would have to renew it, or generally before the first. With your application, the way that it was done, it came in the second year of the biennium. So it only was charging $35 for the permit itself and then a $35 application fee, because it would only be for part of 1 year. If it was for 2 years, it would have been 70 plus 35. So we prorated up to December the 31st. So if you were granted a permit, it would have to be renewed. With that, I'll turn over to Ms. Bales. She'll give an overview and then the board members want to talk to you.
All right, we brought Mr. Maddox in front of the committee this afternoon based on an arrest from August 4th, 2023. He did disclose this arrest. It's out of Lexington County, South Carolina. It was for possession of marijuana misdemeanor. According to his statement, he was driving and was pulled over. The officer smelled marijuana and searched the vehicle, and the officer found less than 2 grams of marijuana in the vehicle. He entered into a pre-trial intervention program, and that program, according to the paperwork, included a psych evaluation, a 6-week drug awareness class, and drug screenings. He completed that, and the paperwork is in your tablet. The case was null pros or dropped on March 25th after he completed it, and it has been expunged. It's not appearing on his background, but he did tell us about it.
All right. You want to tell us about what happened on it today?
Sure. So if my memory recalls correctly, which I'll try to do my best to recall the events of that day. So I believe I was with a friend who was also my coworker and soon to be co-defendant, and we were playing basketball. And it's important to note that I used to smoke marijuana at that time, but not previous to the events. More so like 2 weeks before I had quit smoking because I was in the process of moving to a different apartment. So I had everything, all of my possessions in my car, including a container that had some marijuana in it in my car, stored away. And so I also had my co-defendant as a passenger, and he happened to be smoking in my vehicle at the time of the officer pulling us over. So of course there was some odor emanating from the vehicle, which the officer pointed out, and then I directed him to my possession of my marijuana and my co-defendant of his. And then the officer gave us some options, and then I followed up with him after, where I came across the pretrial intervention program that the state of South Carolina holds and went through that process. It's a quite long process, and so you have to do several different forms, and you have to do a psych evaluation with a licensed, I believe, psychologist. I'm not sure if he has his MD, but after that, then you get accepted into either a 6-week, whatever the drug version of AA meetings would be, I guess, or a 10-week if you happen to fail the psych eval or fail the drug test provided. And so after you complete that, you can apply for your record to be expunged, which I did promptly, and then it was expunged in March. And then I ended up moving here, and throughout this time, I was in good standing with the South Carolina Board of Pharmacy. I still have my license in South Carolina as well.
Arkansas.
I'm actually going to the University of Arkansas. It was a dream school of mine. My parents went to school at the U of A. That's where they met. So I kind of wanted some new environment school-wise, so it drew me to this state and I've been going to school. Things are going well so far.
And are you enrolled in college right now?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
are your grades okay? You doing
I
good?
believe, sorry, go ahead. Was that it? Okay.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I have all A's. It's a pretty loaded semester for me this semester. I have 17 credit hours, but I'm taking organic chemistry, calculus 2, which I just took the final exam yesterday. Waiting to hear back. I should be getting an A in that class. Very challenging. Also, I'm taking sociology, and I'm doing well in that class. I just finished my final exam before driving here, and I got a 100 on it, so
Not smoking anymore?
Absolutely not.
Oh, you're working in a pharmacy now?
Yes, ma'am.
What about?
And it's a CVS on North College, one of them on North College. Berkeley.
What are you studying for?
So my major is chemistry and biochemistry. I plan to go into medicine after that. Thinking maybe through the military. If not, then I would love to go to med school and become a practicing physician, later on.
There's no additional questions. I'll make a motion to approve his permit.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, by Dr. Jolly and a second by Dr. Boone. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Unanimous decision. You go out there and do well.
Sorry,
Go out and do well.
I'm trying. I have an exam at 5:30 this evening, so hopefully I can get back to school on time.
Get back.
You back? You want, what?
To Fayetteville,
Yeah, I know, but what's your exam in?
physics.
Okay.
So this should be fine.
Don't speed.
Oh, absolutely not.
No more violations.
I couldn't even get my car up to that speed. I just now fixed it. I was kind of worried about, the timeline because my car was giving me some troubles for like the past month, but I ended up finding what was wrong with it and fixing it. So
Yeah.
All right.
Travel safe, man.
thank you so much.
That's your last exam?
No, I have organic chemistry exam at like
Oh, they haven't been 8. When I did them, they have the 6 in the evening. Organics.
I don't know what's worse.
Yeah.
No, you have all day to study or you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Whichever one. But there will be 6 of those large auditoriums. Good luck.
And if you don't want to wait, we can mail it to you.
That would.
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah.
If I give you that.
If the-
We got it. We got
it. It got hot in here too.
It did.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it did. You were in a suit.
I know, I was like,
Yeah, it was so cool. Boy, it's hot in here now. Yeah.
You said it at 89.
You just turn it off then. It should be all right then. Gosh. You know, I didn't say that.
I know you didn't.
Yes. Monday is coming Friday. That would be there, that will be home.
I'm very early. I came from Louisiana though. I'm gonna be nervous speaking in front of him. He's okay.
I'm gonna wave him in a minute. He's gonna start laughing.
Yes, ma'am. Arcadia.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
wow. So you trying to work in El Dorado or Magnolia?
I was actually gonna do, something online, as far as like work from home.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. I thought you were gonna drive into the state.
No,
Say
ma'am.
fits as a tech, that might not work for Arkansas, but we'll get there in a minute.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Ms. Carter, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the board. I'm gonna tell you kind of who all you're talking to up here and a couple things about our procedure.
Yes, sir.
On this side of the table, myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our assistant director. Miss Ashley Bales is our legal counsel. We are all staff members here at the board offices.
Okay.
And I have three pharmacy board members who are decision makers for you here today. Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Brian Jolly, and then Dr. Lenore Newsom. Dr. Newsom is our chair of this informal committee.
Okay.
So we've got that you had submitted an application to be a pharmacy technician in Arkansas.
Yes.
And you did not tell us, or you told us nothing was going to come back, but then I think we found something, which Ms. Bales will go over in a moment.
Okay.
With that, after she gives a review, the board member is going to want to talk to you about your background and whether or not they're going to approve you to have a technician registration for Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
Whatever decision they come up with, it could be to approve it, to deny it, to say they'll reconsider it at some other date.
Yes.
We don't know until they tell us.
Okay.
And you have the opportunity to either say, okay, I'll agree with that, or I don't. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they ask us to do.
Okay.
If you don't, then you kind of have a choice to say, well, never mind, not going to be a pharmacy tech in Arkansas, or you could request a formal hearing before the full board, which is 8 members of the board, a hearing officer, a court reporter. We swear everybody in. And it's just a much more formal procedure of kind of how we go through this.
Yes, sir.
So I always ask, do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about how this process works?
I don't, but can I turn my phone off real quick?
Oh, please, yeah, absolutely. And at any point during this, if you do come up with, you need to ask us something, or you've got something, go, wait a minute, that confuses me, like, stop us and ask us any questions that you have, because we do this all the time and realize you hadn't sat there before.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bales?
We brought Ms. Carter in for the informal committee members today. She failed to disclose any arrests on her application. After we got it back, 2 arrests came up. The first one is from August 12, 2006. She was arrested for a battery. Looks like according to the paperwork, she went to trial and was found guilty. Was sentenced to fine and court costs, 90 days jail suspended, and 6 months probation and no contact with the victim. And then on February 18, 2014, she was arrested on 3 counts of principal to monetary instrument of abuse for passing fake money at stores and restaurants. It looks like from the paperwork, she was sort of like an accessory or charged as an accessory to that, but on April 30th, 2014, the charges were no prosecutor dropped.
All right, you gonna give us a heads up on what all this is about?
Yes, ma'am. And I turned my phone off because I did disclose that I was arrested, to the instructor. And it is actually, it's not her fault, but I did tell her that I was arrested. I didn't turn about the application. Oh, the application, yeah, it's there in front of you. Yes, the instructor filled the application out. I didn't fill the application out, but I did disclose that I was arrested, but I'm not even gonna blame her for it because I went back to she and I messages and I said I was arrested before and everything, and she said to me, so everything is no, and I agreed and I said no, so I guess I didn't on my part, go through the applications like I should have, but I wasn't trying to not, disclose the fact that I have been arrested those times before. I wasn't trying to, hide the fact that I was arrested. When I was arrested for the battery, when I was 18, 17, 18, I don't know. I think, I was fighting, got that charge, and I did, pay the money for the time or whatever. But I just feel like who I am today is not near about who I was when I got either one of those charges. And I wasn't, again, I wasn't trying to be dishonest, but I think it was just a miscommunication as far as, the application process.
Hey, tell me about your cousin.
Ma'am.
Tell me about your cousin. You mentioned him that he had a talk with you when he got you out of jail?
Yes. When he got me out of jail for fighting, when I went to jail for, that fighting, in 2006, I think that was, or whatever, he got me out of jail. And on our way home, the conversation that we had, he was like, what's next? What do you want to do next? Because I had a daughter as well. She was like, I think 1 at that time. And he's like, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, I really don't have any plans since I had my daughter, but I always wanted to, to go to school. But once I had her, I just felt like, I guess it was impossible because she was deaf and I had a big responsibility at that time at the age 18. And so he was like, well, if you go to school, I'll make sure I pay everything. I'll take care of you. I'll get your clothes and everything or whatever, if that's something that you want to do. So I was like, well, I want to change. I don't want to be in the streets fighting like animals or whatever, and I did. So I went to college. I graduated, got my criminal justice degree at Wiley, my bachelor's. And I actually ended up getting my master's too in criminal justice after I got arrested. When I got arrested for the monetary instrument abuse, I was in school to get my master's degree. 1 course into my final course or whatever. I was about to graduate and I got arrested. So I couldn't finish the schooling. I was kicked out of the school because I was in jail still once finals was supposed to be submitted or whatever. So I didn't think about going back at the moment. I was just, hysterically, I think I was more disappointed in myself, for getting in trouble again or whatever. Which again, I'm not gonna put it on anyone else because I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, hanging around with the wrong crowd. But when I got arrested that time, it was with my ex-husband. He had the fake money and everything, and I was there, and I didn't deny the fact that I was there, with him or anything like that. But I didn't finish school right then, but I went back in 2020 to get my master's in criminal justice. And I literally, once they told me this was gonna be dismissed off my case, I didn't think it was gonna keep showing up because when I went to be a mental health specialist or whatever, I didn't know that it was gonna show up because it didn't show up with them or anything like that. So I didn't, I thought it was gonna, after 10 years or so, that it would be gone off my record, but I guess I gotta get it expunged or something. I don't know. But I never tried to have the fact that, I went to jail or either time or whatever, because I just feel like both times that I went to jail, that it made me who I am today.
Have you finished your master's degree?
Yes, ma'am. I finished my master's degree in 2020 at Capella. I went back after sitting out for a while after that arrest in 2014. I sat out for like 4 years, and then I decided that I wanted to do something different, and I went back and got them in 2020.
Okay, so why do you want to be a pharmacy technician?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna just be real honest with you or whatever. I needed a second income, and my friend, she became a pharmacy tech, and she was just telling me the benefits of being a pharmacy tech or whatever. I am a full-time property manager right now or whatever, but I just need a second income, and I wanted to go back to school to do that, so that's what I did.
And so what type of jobs are you looking at?
I was actually just looking, basically doing something online, as far as like, with Medicaid and getting prescriptions filled and stuff like that.
Did you consider going into a store to work to get an understanding of
Uh,
what it is you'll be doing?
I actually did, and actually, once, I finished the course because it was only 8 weeks, with Southwest, Medical, whatever. I have a friend who teaches, pharmacy tech or whatever, and she was helping me to get better understanding of what I need to know, because it was difficult, and I let the, instructor know that 8 weeks, to me, it wasn't long enough for me to get what I need to get or whatever. And when it came up, that I needed to present all the information, I got discouraged again. And I was like, I didn't even want to be here today. My friend, he told me, don't give up on yourself. So I came to present myself to, because I feel like those 2 arrests that I had or whatever, I felt like I failed myself and I failed my daughter or whatever, but I'm not gonna continue to fail myself and not show up for myself.
So on your application, someone else helped you fill it out?
The instructor,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And if you look, they've got page numbers at the bottom of the
Okay.
page. So page 3. That's page 1,
Okay,
the one I'm talking,
page
2,
three.
3.
Yes.
So who signed that for you? Because that doesn't look like your signature to me.
No, it's not my signature.
So then there's another page behind that. The request for waiver. Did you sign that one?
Yes, I did.
And then but you went to the fingerprint place and did your fingerprints and all that.
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. So who signed your name on an application for us?
This was filled out from the instructor.
Who's like, I heard you say Southwest Medical.
Yes.
Is that the
That's a school that I went to, yes.
Where's that? Is that in like Shreveport or Ruston or?
Oh, it's based out of Arkansas.
Okay.
Yes.
Was it an online school?
Yes, it was online.
Okay.
It was full online, yes.
So, yeah. Yeah, for the board members, I think we've had some issues there where we're having to have a discussion with the school that it's not legal for them to sign something for her. Because what she's saying is an application got turned in for her, but she's not the one who signed it. She's not the one who checked the boxes, but it caught her up in a potentially disciplinary process because they filled it out for you instead of you filling it out.
Yes, and if I can turn my phone on, I could show y'all what I did tell her that I was arrested. I didn't lie.
Well, and
I
that's
didn't lie.
fine. What we are already dealing with similar issues for them. That's not your fault. Like what they should do as a school is 2 things. One is tell you, at least for Arkansas, you don't have to go to the school, but if you want to get the extra education, that's fine.
Yes,
But number 2, these are legal documents that they should hand you to fill out.
yes, sir.
Because otherwise we have a fictitious application. You wanted to send an application and they said, we took care of it for you is what I would imagine,
Yes.
but it's actually for you to fill out.
Yes.
So depending on what the board says, we might want you to fill out an application.
Okay,
So we have one actually from you where you can answer these questions the way you would want to have answered them. Otherwise, it looks like you were dishonest with the Board of Pharmacy,
yes, sir.
which you're not the one who answered it. Yeah, I'll look at it.
Fight that disclosure.
Yeah, I mean, that's you telling, I guess,
That
Mrs.
instructor.
Thomas. Okay.
Yes.
But then she said, so it's a no for everything.
Yeah, and I said yes, and that's why I think I got
Yeah,
confused. I
but
didn't.
that one would have been a yes, but you clearly told her that you were, okay.
You're not moving to Arkansas.
No, I'm not moving to Arkansas. No, sir.
You're looking to work in an online position from Louisiana and work on prescriptions in the state of Arkansas?
This was the thing, because I was going to, try to transfer to Arkansas, but I don't know how this gonna work as far as like me working from home, to practice, in Arkansas or whatever.
Have like a job offer, or have you talked to?
I don't, no ma'am, I don't have a job offer. No ma'am.
So she's asking that because for like pharmacy technicians working for a pharmacy processing anything, that's only in a store. Like that's not from home.
Yes, yes.
There might be a job actually with Medicaid, working
Yes.
on the Medicaid side of billing that is not an actual pharmacy technician job, but having your permit as a pharmacy technician might help you to like get that job. But if you're in the process of, there's a pharmacy that is processing prescriptions to fill to hand to patients, that's only in a store.
Yes, yes,
Kind of weird, but
yes.
Okay, does she need to fill out another
if,
application?
if
with her
you,
signature on
if
it?
you guys were going to make a motion to approve her, my request would be that she actually hand fill out an actual application, which she can answer the yes questions the way that she indicated to them she would have, like the arrest question, she would have answered yes. I mean, that's the main thing, because otherwise, if someone asks for her file and they think that she filled this out, they think that she's been dishonest, and I don't believe she intended to, because I mean, on the text chain, you can see, yes, I was arrested. But it's otherwise, we have a fictitious application. She didn't sign it.
Right.
We have a handful of these that I'll just tell you, at one point, we found a stack of them where like, you can tell the same person filled all these out, and we literally just sent them back, say, we will not touch these. These are not from applicants. This is not the way this works legally.
This is kind of.
It has.
Mhm.
Things are out though.
Yeah.
That teacher,
Yeah,
actually the teacher's pharmacy tech, so. I can pick all of the ones up last we thought were. kind of
oh, okay, good.
Okay.
So, we can make that part of the motion, right? To
Yeah,
have
so
her- have her refresh.
Yeah, if you wanted to approve her, so you would approve her as soon as she gets her own application turned in.
Okay. I'll make that motion as stated.
I'll second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays?
I'll get her one.
Can we go ahead and do that today
Yeah,
while
well,
she's
yeah.
here? So she.
Because it's, instead of signing off on that one, I would want to sign off on one sheet. So, Ms. Carter, Ashley is Ms. Bell's going to take you up front, and we're going to have somebody hand you an application. And when you get to the background questions, you
Yes.
know, you've got one or two of them to answer yes on, just fill them out as you would honestly.
Yes.
And we'll eyeball it and sign off on it, and you'll get your permit to take back south.
Okay.
Now, where are you stopping to eat on the way back to Louisiana?
I'm not sure.
What's your favorite place to go?
I like seafood.
Like, you ever go to Hollis's?
I haven't been. It's
In
good.
Spearsville? Yes.
Okay, okay,
Friday, Saturday? Yeah.
okay.
No idea where any of this is. No one else like, you mean the old Tiger here? That's it. Chicken fried chicken, I got chicken fried steak. And it was a good old one. Howdy.
Come on in.
And here we go, number 4. And we're up on here real quick, if this will let me. Takes just a second to get you pulled up, but is under tab 16. All right, how you doing, Ms. Golden?
Great, how are you?
Doing well. I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the pharmacy board. I'm going to tell you kind of who you're talking to up here and a couple things about this procedure as we get started. On this side of the table, we are all staff members here that work in the Board of Pharmacy. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCrady is our assistant director. She'll be back in just a moment. Miss Ashley Bales is our legal counsel. On the other side of the table, we have 3 of our pharmacy board members, Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Brian Jolly, and Dr. Lenore Newsom. Dr. Newsom is the chair of our informal committee. We're here today that you have an application to be a pharmacy technician in the state of Arkansas. You told us that nothing would come back on it, but we did find some stuff, unfortunately. So the board members are going to want to talk to you about that in just a moment. What we'll do is I'll turn it over to Ms. Bales and she'll give us an overview of your application, and the board members will have some questions for you. At some point, they're going to come up with what they would like to do with your application. Since this is an informal conference, not a full board meeting, they could say they would vote to approve it, to deny it, to reconsider it at some date, or to basically punt it before the full board at a later date. Whatever they come up with, you could agree or disagree with. If you agree, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, it's kind of your shot to say either, well, forget this, I don't want to do pharmacy anymore, or to say, well, I would like to have a formal hearing before the full board at a later date. We call this informal because it is less formal than that. The formal hearings have all 8 board members, hearing officer, court reporter. We swear everybody in and we give evidence back and forth, which is much more like going to court. So I always ask 2 questions. Do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about how this works? I'll add a third. Who'd you bring with you?
This is my daughter.
All right. So with that, I will turn over to Ms. Bales. At any point, if you've got a question about what's going on or anything, by all means, raise your hand, get our attention. We'll try to help answer any questions you have. Sure thing.
We brought Ms. Golden in for the informal committee members to review. She did not disclose that any arrests would come up on her background check, but one, or actually 2 did. The first one is on April 26, 2015. She was charged with possession of a controlled substance misdemeanor and possession of drug paraphernalia misdemeanor. According to her statement, she was holding her boyfriend's marijuana in her purse. When she went to court, the possession of controlled substance charge was null prost. She pled guilty to the possession of drug paraphernalia and was ordered to have no other criminal violations for 6 months, and then the case would be dismissed. And then on March 30th, 2019, she was charged with contempt for failure to pay traffic violations. They issued a warrant for her in January of 2021. I'm sorry, they issued the warrant, but then was dismissed the warrant in January 12th, 2021, when she paid the fines in full. But she did not disclose, and so that's why she was brought for the committee.
You want to tell us in your own words what happened?
With the first charge, I was coming back from Branson with my boyfriend from us staying up there, and we stopped at a gas station to get snacks and drinks on the way back. And he stole a charger while he was inside of the gas station after I went outside. And when we left the hotel, he had put his marijuana in my purse. And so when he got arrested, they searched his truck in my purse, and I obviously had the marijuana in my purse. So I got charged with that. The second one, I obviously had a no insurance ticket, and they issued a warrant and then arrested me for it.
So were you a smoker yourself?
No.
You never did smoke, okay.
So on the application, if you look at that, like the one that says page 2, it's got questions.
I did look at it already.
So why'd you say no?
I've honestly had so many background checks. I even worked at an airport and that nothing's ever come back on it. So I just assumed that since they said that the other charge would be taken off of my record, that it wasn't on there at all. And the no insurance ticket, I didn't even think about the warrant for that when I got arrested, because I literally just followed them to the police station and they released me again. So
they didn't like put you in handcuffs and haul you off?
no,
That's fortunate.
yes.
So what do you want to do in pharmacy?
I would like to work under this pharmacist and then eventually go to take my test to get an actual pharmacy tech license.
Well, this would be an actual pharmacy tech, like registration with the state.
Yes,
There is national certification, which some people do.
that's
and-
what I would like to do.
Okay. Sometimes employers will give you a little bit better pay or something for that. So-
Yeah,
So you're currently working at the pharmacy
I am.
as a clerk? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Any other questions?
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Unanimous decision.
If you agree with it.
I do agree. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Now, you're not skipping school today, are you?
She's
Okay.
actually 19.
Well, that's, you never know. I mean,
But y'all be careful going back.
Thank you. It was pretty crazy going through town down here because I'm used to a small town, so it was hard going through the city, but.
Y'all didn't have a good time unless you, why don't you decide to stay and shop? It's fun everywhere.
We might actually. They look like there were some cute places, so.
yeah,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
absolutely. I had a break between the APA board meeting Saturday and I'd rather just stay home and I'm like, wow, I need to run over. And I walked in, I told Brent, I said, I walked in and whoop, and it brought me back out. Nope, that's not happening. I swear these pads used to just one screen. Every once in a while, we'll still do it.
If you swipe, it does better than using
Oh, yeah.
the deal. So you like swipe, kind of like that, from like other side, yeah, right side. About half the time,
There you go.
about half the time it'll go back, and half the time it goes all the way up.
Ms. Hall.
How are you today? I'm good. How are you? All right.
Number tab 15 for you guys. How are you doing, Ms. Hall?
I'm good.
I'm John Kirtley. I'm the pharmacy board director. I'm gonna tell you kind of who you're talking to this morning or this afternoon. I keep saying morning. And a couple things about our procedure. On this side of the table, we are all staff members here at the board offices. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCrady, Miss Ashley Bales. Dr. McCrady is our assistant director. Miss Bales is our legal counsel. On the other side, we have three of our kind of board members who are decision makers here for your application today. They are Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Brian Jolly, and Dr. Lenore Newsom. Dr. Newsom is the chair of our informal conference. On this, we have your application to be a pharmacy technician in the state of Arkansas, and you did tell us that something might come back, which is what the board members want to talk to you about.
Yes.
In a moment, I will turn over to Ms. Bales. She'll give an overview of your application, and the board members who are just now seeing the same packet you have will want to talk to you about that. At some point, they're going to have a suggestion for what they would want to do as far as suggested action. Could be to approve your application, could be to deny your application, could be to say they're going to table it for a future date. We don't know until they get to that point. Most important issue is whenever they do that, you could either agree or disagree with whatever their suggestion is. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree with it, you kind of have the choice to either say, you know, forget this, I'm not going to do pharmacy, or you could request a hearing before the full board at a later date. Full board is all 8 members. We have a hearing officer, a court reporter. We swear everyone in and go back and forth with evidence. And we call it formal because it's much more like what you would see going to court or anything like that. So I was asked, do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
Any questions about how this works? If at any point you go, hold on, wait a minute, I'm confused or anything like that, if you've got a question, by all means, get our attention and ask it. We'll do our best to help answer any question you have.
Okay.
That I'll turn over to Ms. Bales.
We brought Ms. Hall in, for the informal committee today. She did disclose some things on it that would come up on our background check. She's got 3 things basically on June 25th, 22, just misdemeanor theft of property. That came up on our background check and we don't have any documents for that charge. Or any statement about that one, but on April 22nd, 2010, Before that, she was arrested on a DWI second offense, no insurance, driving on suspended driver's license and speeding. And again, no court documents or statement were submitted on that one. The most recent one is September 22nd, 2022. She was arrested for endangering the welfare of a minor in the first offense and public intoxication. According to her statement, she went to the hospital because her car broke down and she needed help. During that time, her small son was lost and couldn't be found. The police arrested her for endangering the welfare of a minor. She entered St. Francis County Drug Court Program on June 26, 2023. She entered a plea of guilty to the charges when she entered the program. And the imposition of her sentence was suspended while she participated. And if she completes the program successfully, the case will be dismissed 1 year after she graduates from the program. She completed phase 4 of the program in July 2024. I don't have any graduation paperwork or dismissal order. So not sure about that. It probably will be coming July of 2025. But I'll let her answer any questions about that. That's what came back on her background, and the supporting documents from the drug court are in the packet.
Okay, your family okay now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Where did they end up finding your son?
About 200 yards away in some wooded area in front of the hospital.
Okay, you have anything else besides that that happened to you that you need to tell us about?
No,
I have a few questions if I could.
Yes.
So, Ms. Hall, what is your, so you entered into drug court. Do you have an addiction issue?
alcoholism, yes.
Alcoholism, and that contributed to the arrest when your son was lost?
Yes.
And you have, in your background, I have DWI second offense. Have you had more than one DWI?
Back in 2010, that was the second one I had within 6 months.
You had 2 within 6 months?
Yes.
Where was the first one? Do you remember?
I'm not,
You know what county?
I think one was in Lonoke and one was in Crittenden.
Okay. So are you still under the provisions of the drug court program?
No, ma'am, my graduation was yesterday.
Okay.
Complete.
Is there any aftercare or you're completely done with the whole program?
Completely done with it. They said all those charges will be dismissed for
Okay.
completing the program.
So then they're gonna work on paperwork that shows that, I guess, since you did it, you finished yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Did you lose custody of your son based on that arrest?
No.
No?
ma'am.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
As part of that, did you end up having to pay a fine, but not as significant as what it was originally, I bet? For the endangerment?
Right, there was a fine for that.
Did it get decreased though as part of your drug court?
Yes, yes.
Right, I figured that, because I know 10,000 is a big
Right,
number.
right. yes.
So what's your sobriety date?
November 3rd of last year, so I have 404 sobriety days.
So where's your home group?
And, well, Marion, Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, you have like, does it have a name or?
Oh, sorry, mine just went blank. Well, I also go to the West Memphis group, but, yeah, my mind just went blank. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like here we'd have Wolf Street, Wolf Street Nooners, or you'd have, Cosmo, and, most time people have kind of what their home group is. You got a sponsor,
Right, yes.
right? What step you working on?
Well, I'm still on the third step.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still taking that inventory.
Yes.
I
yes,
understand.
okay, yes.
Have you, talked to anybody in a pharmacy about a job or anything?
Not yet, no.
And what brings you to want to be a pharmacy technician then?
Well, that was one of the opportunities that came up while I was in the drug court program. And, of course, I encourage everyone to go back and get further education. And this is one of the programs that came up, was the pharmacy technician. That's how that got started.
No, I don't have any questions. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your 404 days. That's great. Glad to hear that. I don't know if I can necessarily support at this time granting the waiver, and I'm just one board member, just giving you my opinion. I just think the timing's been a little bit too close. So if time had passed a little bit more, I think maybe that would be different, but with this being in 2022, last couple of years, I don't know if as a board member, I could grant the waiver at this time. So I just want to be upfront and honest with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. I imagine you would say that you would table it rather than giving her a negative decision then.
Yeah, I would say to a full board, table it to a full board.
If she wanted to pursue it,
If
you'd
she
send
wanted
it
to
to
pursue
the
it,
board.
correct.
But if she just wanted to hold off, you give her the option to table it so that she didn't have a denial.
To avoid a negative action on the permit or her application rather. And a full board is, 7 members, eight members. So some of the ones that come to our smaller, one, like we're having today, maybe we need a little bit more decision-making in that. I don't know where I'm at. In this setting today, I wouldn't, as I told you, I wouldn't be comfortable.
You want to offer her the opportunity to withdraw her application at this point?
Well, I mean, that depends on how you guys feel.
The application is normally good for a year from the date we receive them. This one is good until August of 25, although at that point there would be an additional fee for the second year of licensure, but we have, when it's tabled before, we have kept the license application.
Yeah.
And then if she comes back before that time,
I mean, I think you're making steps in the right direction. Involved in a recovery program, completed the program that you had, that you were enrolled in, through the court. With that being about 2 years old, I think, tabling it, if that's something that you want to take a look at, would be an option. That way we don't take a negative action on your, we take a negative action on your, don't let me misspeak. If we take a negative action on your application, that negative action kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, it would, if you applied for some other registration in the future with some other state agency, they'd say, well, have you ever had a negative action or denial? And you'd say yes. And what they're saying is, we're not going to deny this. Like they're saying, it's not that they're saying no forever, but they're not comfortable today. So they would just table it instead of you having something that would follow you that way.
How much time would you allow? What would?
I would say, I've been here 20 years. And generally, if we have someone that we know has an addictive disease issue, there's a couple of ways that can go. Oftentimes we send them to our pharmacy support group that does oversight and management of people, but yours is a little bit interesting or different because it's been through drug court for alcohol. And that approach has some monetary aspects of it. Like it costs money for the oversight and everything else. And they may want to see like all your clinical paperwork, and it may take several months. The other way, and that's usually we have pharmacists that do that. We've had some technicians that have done it as well. On technician side, I've seen the board say before they want to see 5 years of like proven sobriety, especially if you've had a couple of alcohol related incidences. I mean, we're kind of really talking about possibly 3 here that had, drug court and stuff. And it's largely because if you're impaired working in a pharmacy, you can harm someone else. So you've got your ability to drive back, right?
Yes,
I mean, you didn't lose it with this
lose it.
last one. That was back when.
yeah.
You got your kids back. So I mean, you're making great forward momentum. Sounds like you've done, well with everything on drug court, got your graduation. I would stick with that and, explore life. And in a few years, you might come back and talk to us. It's not usually a 14 months or a 16 months or something like that. It's just I hate to say it this way, but it's kind of go with your gut and what feels right. And I think that if you get some other job or something that has you taking a role of responsibility where they're basically saying, yes, she's been sober, we've had no problems, there have been no legal interaction or anything else for a few years, I think that helped greatly.
Thank you.
But it's just kind of soon right now.
All right, thank you. Appreciate y'all's honesty.
Yeah,
Being
We
upfront.
appreciate you telling us your story. I know it's not easy to do that.
No.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
But hey, keep moving forward.
Yes, thank
The
you.
next thing you know, you'll be at group one night and they'll be arguing over whether or not they're going to keep saying the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of friends in recovery, and I was told, they're like, oh yeah, the most stressful thing right now is they're having discussions of whether or not to have the prayer.
And Lending a Hand, that's the group, my home group.
Oh yeah, there you go. I
Lending
didn't
a
come
Hand.
to you because they all have some catchy name.
Yes. I appreciate y'all. your
Absolutely.
honesty. All
Thank
right.
you. Have a
All right,
safe
thank
trip
you.
back.
Okay.
The drones themselves are regulated by FAA. We've had one drone company come here, and what we said was we treated it like any other type of common carrier or delivery, meaning it's the pharmacy's responsibility that it gets to the patient. And if it gets there broken or temperature control or anything else, that falls on the pharmacy, not the delivery method. So there's two different types of drones, which is another interesting thing. There's the helicopter drones and the airplanes that drop you a package. So when we had Multigon, I actually, zip line. And there's another one that's, there's two at Walmart and Rogers, but only one of them's doing anything with pharmacy. All right. Mr. Bates, let's see, tab 14 for us. How are you doing this afternoon, Mr. Bates?
Good. What about you, sir?
Oh, it's a beautiful day, I'm told, outside, but I think it's also kind of cloudy.
You know, a little bit.
Yeah, but it's also warmer than it should be for this time of December. Hey, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the pharmacy board director. I'm going to tell you kind of who you're talking to this afternoon and a couple things about our procedure. On this side of the table, the three of us that'll be here, Dr. McCready will be back in just a moment. She's our assistant director. Ms. Vales is our legal counsel. She's our attorney here. I have three of our pharmacy board members. We've got Dr. Clint Boone on the end, Dr. Brian Jolly, and then I've got Dr. Lenore Newsom here next to me. Dr. Newsom is our chair of this informal committee. We've got an application to be a pharmacy technician that you have sent in, and you told us nothing would come back. We found a couple things, which the board members are going to talk to you about in a minute. What I'll do is I'll turn it over to our attorney, and she'll give us kind of a brief overview of what was in your application, and then they'll talk to you about it for a few minutes. And at some point, they're going to come up with what they think they want to do with it. It could be to approve the application, to deny the application, to table it for some period of time. We don't know what they're going to say until they come up with it. And then you get the opportunity to kind of say, well, I agree with that or I don't. It's not something you necessarily have to do sitting right there right now. If you agree with whatever they come up with, we go forth and kind of follow their instructions as staff. If you disagree, it's kind of your chance to either say, well, never mind, I'm not going to work in pharmacy, or your other choice would be to say, well, I'd like a hearing, a formal hearing before the full board at a later date. So we call this informal because we're kind of going to have a conversation back and forth across the table. Formal is all 8 board members. There'd be a hearing officer up here instead of me, a court reporter typing everything out. We swear everybody in like you're going to court. So it's just a more formalized procedure that feels more like going to court.
Yes, sir.
So I always ask, do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about how this works?
No, sir.
If that changes, if we say something, you go, wait, that makes no sense to me, because you've never sat there before and we do this all the time. If you got any questions, wave your hands at us, get our attention. If you have a question to ask, we'll do our best to answer it for you. All right, Ms. Vales?
And we brought Mr. Bates in for the informal committee to consider. He didn't disclose any arrests on his application, but there were a couple of things that came up. First one, October 23rd, 2020, he was charged with criminal impersonation and tampering with physical evidence. And on October 21st, 2021, he was charged with failure to appear. He was sentenced to fines and probation on all those charges. Then on May 31st, 2022, he was charged with probation revocation. And the court ordered that all fines, probation, and jail time would be waived if he was accepted into the military and completed boot camp, so they canceled the revocation hearing. Then on September 28, 2023, he was charged with failing to pay. An arrest warrant was served on him on November 14, 2023. And best I can tell from the paperwork he submitted, he still owes some money to that court. It looks like $885. So that's why we brought him in here, because his failure to disclose, and there was this arrest and following issues as well.
All right, how are you doing today?
Good, what about you?
All right. You want to tell us in your own words, what happened for you to get these charges against you?
Well, my first one, that was just a bad mistake. I just made a bad decision. My second one, I was in college and I literally just forgot about the FTA. I was in Lane College in Jackson, Tennessee, so I was 3 hours away. I didn't know about it. Even when I found out about it and I got arrested, I literally told them that I was in college, but I didn't get no leeway. I still had to pay the fines, pay the charges, stuff like that. The third one, my job doesn't pay enough for living and to go make costs on my fines. And then I also have a son, so it's just like I didn't have the money to pay for the FTP.
I've got some questions.
Okay.
So I've read your statement on that criminal impersonation charge, but it's a little confusing. So what actually happened? How did you make contact with police that day?
I got pulled over and I literally just made a bad decision and told them a different name that wasn't mine. So that's why I got a criminal impersonation charge. The tampering with evidence, it was supposed to get taken off because he thought that I was trying to hide evidence from him, but I wasn't. And it wasn't even my car that I was in. He thought it was stolen, and I really feel like that's why I got that charge. But we had already proved that that car wasn't stolen because it was just my friend's car.
Let me ask you this, because it says in here that, like, so did you run from the police? Because it says on here that you were on government property and he came back and he pulled his gun out. And so that's where I was like, got confused in your statement.
That's 2020. That's 2022.
It says 2020 on your statement.
2020, that's just
It might be two separate incidents, but it doesn't,
two separate
it
incidents.
doesn't
That's why I'm
read like that
confused,
necessarily.
and
It
I
says
probably
you
just
were
put it
scared and you
together.
ran for your safety
Yes,
and
ma'am.
he pulled a gun out. What was that about?
So like, I was walking home from the gas station and I was on government property, but I didn't know that I was walking on government property. And he stopped me and he asked for my name, but he stayed in the same spot. And by the time that I was walking, I was already like back down the road where I was about to turn into my road, into the street, into my apartment. And he just ran up on me with his lights on and he pulled his gun out and told me to stop. And I'm a black man in America. That just didn't sound right. He didn't give me no explanation, no nothing. So I just started running. And I mean, I eventually stopped because I figured that it was something bad. And he told me why after, but like that was just scary because I just never had no cop just
So
pull
did
out
he
a gun on
charge
me.
you with something on that?
He
Or did you
charged
have a
me.
warrant out?
He charged me. I had a warrant, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And he charged me with fleeing on top of that.
Okay, and did you take care of the fleeing charge?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And then what is this, the judge ordered you to go, you wipe everything out if you went into the military and completed boot camp? Did that happen?
That didn't happen because I had criminal charges, so I couldn't
So you
join
couldn't
the
go?
military.
Yeah, okay. And so am I right that you still owe some money to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you making payments on that?
Yes, I am now because I work 2 jobs, but I mean, it's as it's happening. I'm not saying that I'm just going to pay 500 one month, but I'm paying 50 every month. Yes, ma'am.
So you're straight with them right now as long as you keep making payments?
Yes, ma'am. And then I know that it's better if I have my license, so I'm trying to get it reinstated fast as possible. And which I
Driver's-
just
your
have
driver's
to-
license?
Yes, ma'am. And I just have to pay that off and then it'll be reinstated.
All right, that's all I had.
And honestly, like when I do like job applications and stuff, like I do put the criminal impersonation on there, but it just genuinely slipped my mind. I wasn't trying to not let y'all know that it happened. It genuinely slipped my mind.
Whose names you use?
One of my
And how
friends,
mad are they?
They wasn't mad, but they just laughed, honestly.
Man, I'll tell you, we had somebody that did the same thing and it has tied up, it was an applicant to be a technician. And it tied up their criminal background check for like the last 10 or 12 years to where someone else used their name. And whenever they tried to get a job, they weren't getting jobs. Then found out it's because they had a friend that used their name and it was tying it to them, even though it was later proven it was not them.
It was still getting them in trouble.
Yep. And because the person whose name was used had never been processed and had fingerprints put in the system, they couldn't prove it wasn't her.
So it was
Because she had never been in trouble, they didn't have fingerprints to prove it was someone else. They just said
okay.
the one who got in trouble used her name and it had attached those fingerprints to the girl that never got in trouble. Until, yeah, it took years. So I'm glad they laughed for you, but I'd be like,
You'll be a little
I'd be
upset.
mad.
So why do you want to be a pharmacy tech?
I mean, my family, they all kind of have medical issues, so I feel like just working in that field, it kind of gives me some type of happiness, knowing that I'm being able to give the people medicine that what they need and make them feel better. Whatever that medication that is that they need.
Have you got a job lined up?
Yes, sir, I did. I did back in August, but he told me once I get my permit or my license just to come back. But I also talked to, that was at Walmart, but I also got in contact with Kroger and they told me when I got my license to put in an application with them too.
So all 3 of these things are tied to one thing.
It's,
Which he owes money on to straighten out with the court and get his
Yeah.
driver's license back.
which it would have been solved if I could have went to the military, but I didn't know that you
Yeah.
had that blockage.
Yeah, if you got, I mean, that's a weird, when I read that and our attorney no more than I would, I'm like, hey, you've got all these charges, but if you go in the military, we'll drop it. And I'm like, yeah, but the military won't let you in when you have all the charges. So it's
Yeah.
kind of,
And it's like, I didn't know that.
it doesn't work that way.
If they would have told me that off the rip, I would have just been like, well, let me go get a second job so I can try to pay this off. And then I don't know if it's because of the branch that I tried to go into, because I tried to go into the National Guard. And I guess like the 3 military branches like Navy, Army, and Marines, I guess they are a little different. Like I was told that the Army probably would have accepted me, but it would have took a little longer too because
Yeah.
of my charges.
Yeah, it takes them a lot longer to process if you have a health issue or a criminal charge or something like that. I mean, it might work, but it does take longer.
And then after that, I was just like, yeah, it's looking like I just need to go back to school or go to work.
What were you studying in school?
I was actually studying animal biology in school, but I was actually in school on a full athletic scholarship, but my coach left and went to a different school, so I lost that scholarship and I was out of state, so it was just like,
It's
I'm probably
expensive
gonna
quick.
put myself in debt if I stay here longer. And And then I got back to Jonesboro, found that out. So I was just like, I guess I'll just work a job until I figure out if I wanted to go back to college or not. Which I do want to at least get my associates because I'm like a semester off of getting it. So at least get my associates and finish it out because that ain't a lot of money,
Yeah. You had good grades in high school, man.
you know. And I only have a 3.0 in college at Lane, so that's not bad.
Not at all.
Where was this at?
Lane College, Jackson, Tennessee.
I'm sorry, I missed the statement. The car you were in, was it stolen? Did you say?
No, ma'am, it wasn't stolen. I don't know why he thought it was stolen because it was it was my friend's car, but it was under his dad's name. And that's literally what I told him as soon as he stopped me, because that was the first thing that he said. He said he thought the car was stolen. And I was just like, well, this isn't my property, but I know for sure it isn't stolen because he's been driving it for the past 2 months. And I don't even think that got settled until my court date where I had to appear in person.
And how did you get the car?
Oh, my friend just gave it to me. He was like, you can go. Well, he had just got off work. He was tired. And I was literally just on the way to get my butterball check because I had just left there and went to a different job. And he pulled me over and I told him what I was doing. Yes, a lot about my name, but I told him what I was doing. But I guess he just was convinced that the car was stolen, which it wasn't. So,
You know, what can we do? I would like to make a motion to approve it, but with some stipulation that we get the fines paid off in court and get that resolved in a timely manner. And I don't know if that's before the next renewal or something. We won't get that taken care of, so.
We have had some where you would approve a shorter length of time with either a revisit or to provide proof of completion by X date to extend it. That sound right, Counselor? When's it gonna be paid off?
I can say that it'll be paid by January 15th for sure because
You were saying like $50 a month. I'm like, man, that's more than a year.
well, no, because I've been actually paying more than $50 because I'm tired of not having my license. And then my 2 jobs, I get paid one weekly, and then my other job, I get paid every 2 weeks. So my weekly checks, I just go and pay something every day, which today I'm gonna go pay some more because it's kind of hard to go pay because Monday through Friday, I work at Pico and it's 3:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. So it's like I don't get nothing to do in between the weekdays. And then at Target, I work the morning after I get off. So it's like I go from one job to another. And you know, the clerk office is only open between Monday and Friday. So it's like I literally have to catch it on one of these days, or I will have to just go off no sleep and go pay it and then go home and go to sleep.
What's Pico?
It's a chicken factory in Pocahontas, Arkansas.
Well, I thought it was something like that. Sure.
Yes, sir.
It's a year.
Yeah, 6 months or a year, either one.
I'd make a motion to approve the license, but would like to see proof of payment to resolve that within 1 year.
Yes, sir. I can definitely do that.
And if you get done sooner, that's great. You can turn it in. That's my motion.
My only question would be, would I have to come back and sit down with y'all, or would I just have to send that paperwork?
If you don't, the way I'm taking it is if you don't send us proof, in a year, we're taking your license back. You have to come back.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Nays? Motion passes.
Kendrick? I hope you can figure out a way to get back in college, man.
Man, I hope I can too. I really just finna pay off this license and then see what I can do after that. But I do want to at least get my associates, you know?
Yeah.
It feels good just to have a degree. And then I never even walked the stage, so I want to at least do that.
You didn't walk in high school?
No, because of COVID. We
Oh,
had
okay.
we had like a graduation, but it was a slideshow.
Mm.
Oh, so you wanna walk across the state?
I just want to walk across the stage at least once.
Okay.
I mean, but don't get me wrong, I do want a degree too, and I just don't know if I want to do the animal biology degree because I would have to move, and this ain't really much in Arkansas. Like with what I want to do, like I would have to go to like Tennessee or Missouri. Where y'all do?
Yeah,
You do.
Yeah.
Veterinarian school?
I ain't going back.
That's probably something to think about.
Who's opening that up? Arkansas State?
And it would line.
Line College, that's right, Batesville.
In Batesville?
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be here in Central Arkansas, the school will be.
And then most of my family lives down here, so I might be heading down here soon in the next 5 years.
Get your fine paid off and don't have
Right.
any more incidents.
No, I definitely won't be getting in no more trouble.
No, don't do that, do that.
Thank you guys so much.
Sounds good.
Y'all have a great day.
So,
Yeah, I think it's fairly difficult to get in the military if you have pending criminal charges. So that's, when I saw that, I was like, what? He tried. I mean. Not even start now, like they wouldn't even let him go to boot camp. Get good grades. Anybody else out there? Yeah, might as well. And if nobody else shows up, we can just be done for the day.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, we had 4 no-shows this afternoon and 3 this morning. So we scheduled 19 and I think 12 showed up. That's,
the administrative procedure.
I'm telling you, man. Good news for me is I didn't make this schedule. I just had to prove it. Yeah, we'll have more come up tomorrow. And I'll tell you, like, we have some people that are like, well, I insist on coming by Zoom, and we're like, no, the board has said for this, you have to appear in person, or for that, you have to appear in person. Like, and we have worked with some people on, hey, a hospital emergency happened, like I, was describing earlier today, or I'm pregnant right now and have this going on. I mean, we have some stuff that works that way.
I think we talked about that. We talked about issues.
Yeah. But we've had people that, the board's denied and they go, hey, I've got different answers now. I don't want to show up. And we're like, no, the board said you had to come back.
Yeah.
Like if the board says you got to come back, you got to come back. That's it? Oh, what? Wait a minute. Oh, that's true. Well, we'll take a break and see if anybody shows up in the next 30 minutes then.
Okay, thank you. Hi, how y'all doing?
Ms. Smith, I'm just trying to pull up your documents here, trying to make sure they know it's under tab 19 for us.
Okay.
So I'm John Curley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna tell you kind of who you're talking to and a couple things about our procedure today.
Okay.
On this side of the table, we are all staff members here at the board. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCrady is our Assistant Director here at the board. Miss Ashley Bales is our attorney here at the board. On the other side, we have three of our pharmacist board members, Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Brian Jolly, and Dr. Lenore Newsom. Dr. Newsom is our chair of this informal committee.
Okay.
We're here today. You have an application to be a pharmacy technician in Arkansas, and you told us that nothing would come back on it, but we found some stuff that they're going to talk to you about in a minute. What I'll do is I'll end up turning over to Ms. Bales to give us an overview of your application, and then we will, they'll want to talk to you about it. And at some point, they'll say, here's what we'd like to do with this application.
Yes.
They could say they want to approve it, deny it, table it for some period of time, consider it later.
Yes, sir.
We don't know what they're going to say till they come up
Correct.
with that. So with that, whatever they come up with, you can either agree or disagree with.
Yes,
If you
sir.
agree with it, we do whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, then it's kind of your shot to either say, well, never mind, I'm not going to do pharmacy, or to request a formal hearing before the full board at a later date. The full board is all 8 board members. There'd be a hearing officer up here and a court reporter with her little typewriter or something. We swear everybody in as witnesses, and we call it formal because it's just a lot more formal, like going to court. So I'd ask, do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Have any questions about how this works?
You pretty summed it up. Just
Okay.
one, maybe like if it's denied, could you reapply later, or it's just that's written in stone?
So I will tell you that if the board members were voting to deny your application, what you would be is you'd be hearing from 3 of the 8 members that at least at this time, they would just outright say to deny the application.
Okay.
We have had people apply again in the future, but I kind of would say, let's see how the conversation goes before we cross that
Right.
bridge.
Okay.
If you've got any questions during this process that you need some clarification on, wave your hands, get our attention, and we'll try to help answer any questions that you got. Ms. Bales?
Smith in for the informal committee review today. There were a couple of arrests that came up on her background check that she did not disclose. The first one is, we don't have records of all of this, but on July 27, 2004, she was arrested for battery. We've tried to find records and we couldn't find any records on that from the court. On March 18, 2006, she was arrested for manufacturing and distributing possession of a scheduled substance, possession of marijuana, and prohibitive acts, drug paraphernalia. The paraphernalia charge was no priced. Again, we couldn't find records on what happened in court. On May 21st, 2007, she was arrested and charged with public housing law, possession of paraphernalia, and that charge was dismissed. And then the latest charge was from 2019, October. She was charged with possession of legend drugs, possession of Schedule 4, and was declined of prosecution. There are, records from the court, but they don't have, basically their documents to say they couldn't find records.
All righty. Ms. Smith, you want to tell us about what happened here?
Okay, so, the 2004, it was just like a big altercation, and everybody was arrested on the 2004, charge. The 2006, at the house, I had a relative living there, did not know, he was smoking marijuana. I got that charge. It was dropped. And the 2007, it was in, apartment complex, so that's why I got the housing. And the 2019 was my own drug. It was in pill box, not in the individual pill. So that's why that charge got dropped. All this it never hit, I'm gonna just say, it never went to court. All charges just got dropped
from the DA office. So like the very first one, she said she couldn't find because it was 2007. So when I contacted the DA, they just said they had no records because none of these, I never went to court. I never had a court date. I just got a letter in the mail saying that everything got dropped.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So on that drug charge from 2006,
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
the records are scant, but it says you're arrested for possession. And then the paraphernalia charge was dropped. Did you get the possession charge stuck? Was that one went to court or?
Well, I had a relative in the home, so he had to sign an affidavit saying that it was his, because it was my home on the lease. He was just living there.
So
I-
how did you have contact with police?
Cause my name was on the lease. I wasn't
Did
even,
they just knock on your door? I mean, how did that happen?
it was an illegal search. They went in the home while I was at work.
Was this public housing you were on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It was, yes, ma'am.
so you didn't get any charge or any conviction out of that?
Ma'am.
Okay, so I couldn't find anything that
Correct.
said exactly that possession charge sort of went away too. Okay.
On the waiver, it says that there was it was checked for felony, but you don't actually have you haven't been
No,
convicted
sir.
of a felony.
No,
or-
sir.
Okay.
So the one from 2019, Ms. Smith, can
Yes, sir.
you explain that a little bit more?
Okay, I
Why you
will.
got charged?
Yes, sir. I had a son, we were doing freshman orientation. And I had a traffic stop for day, night, dusk, dawn. I didn't have the headlights on. So we got pulled over. From the charge of 2005, they wanted to search the vehicle. We let them search the vehicle. The pill case that has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I had that. I just didn't have it in the pill bottle itself. So I got charged for that, and then I just showed proof that it was my medicine, and they got dropped.
You had a legal prescription for it. You had legal ownership of what
Yes.
was in that.
Yes,
Y'all were doing orientation for freshman orientation for.
my high school.
For high school.
My son was a freshman, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You weren't charged with anything.
Just booked, just arrested.
Like they started charging and then changed their minds later.
Okay. So you don't smoke marijuana, haven't smoked marijuana?
No,
Don't have
ma'am.
marijuana card?
No, ma'am.
Makes you want to be a pharmacy technician.
I am already a certified CNA. I've been in Arkansas. Next year in March will be 15 years, and I work in the food industry. I am a store manager for Popeyes, and I work as a CNA on the side. So I wanted to better my future, and it was pharmacy tech for my LPN, but my job wouldn't let me do LPN, so I went to pharmacy tech that way, and I did online, and it went great, So I said, I'm just stacking up, I don't want to let Popeyes go, but I just want to have something for my future. I love CNA, I love pharmacy, and I've been with Popeyes 19 years now, and it's getting worse than it was when I first started.
So the ones from 04, 06, 07, those were in another.
All these are in another state, Louisiana.
So you've never gotten charged, you've never gotten convicted of anything?
No, sir.
All right, on that.
According to the records, just arrest, but then decline for prosecution.
I don't remember anything about documents here, but why don't you mark no on the application?
Moving too fast. Moving too fast. Excited. I had just finished online, moving too fast. Cause I didn't even do the waiver part. They had called me and I got a letter saying I didn't even do the waiver right when I filled out the waiver part.
Can't move too fast and.
Correct. Yes,
Move too fast.
exactly. Yes, sir.
what do you wanna, what are you currently doing in the move from where you are now to being a technician?
Right now, I'm just working at Popeyes and I do CNA. I work at the nursing home. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I do. Cause, with Popeyes, we have a set schedule for the whole year. So when I'm off, I work there. And then like if I work the morning shift, I'll go help out in the evening shift. Or I'll pick up shifts, you know. All these right here charges that y'all are looking at is in my hometown where I'm from. So I travel. Sometimes I go to Farmerville, which in Louisiana, they got, since COVID hit, you can go to other states and help out. So on my off days, I do go do CNA. And I like it. It's different because you're dealing with the public with food industry, but then the medical field, they're thankful for what you're doing for them. So I kind of like that better.
You stayed with the same company for 19 years?
Yes, yes, sir. They just have different ones. We have Arkansas stores and Louisiana stores. I started off in Louisiana and I ended up in Arkansas.
You're in Alpharetta.
Yes, sir.
If you looked at it in the pharmacy for jobs?
Yes, I have. Right now, Walgreens need help. And, it's another one, Melvin's in El Dorado need help right now. That, I have some customers come in and I've been telling them the process I've been going and they're like, do it. So, and then Arkansas has a program where that's where I went online to do the pharmacy tech. A lady came in and told me about it and I signed up. It was an 8 to 10 progress online. It was at your own pace. And that's how I ended up doing it. I just took the leap.
Well, congratulations on completing the program.
Thank you.
Dr. Bennett.
I'd make a motion to approve the application for pharmacy technician.
I have a motion by Dr. Green and a second by Dr. Jolly. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any nays? The motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Don't speed through Sheridan. Don't speed through Fordyce.
Right. The guys that were out there last night.
Smith. Said, don't speed through Sheridan. Don't speed through Fordyce. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, they have, highway patrol people in them.
Yeah.
Fordyce.
Fordyce restaurant, Fordyce.
Open, close, open, close. It's closed
Is
now.
it true that the Rolling Stones got
Yeah.
arrested there?
Yeah.
Or one of them did, I don't agree.
That it? All right, we're done till. Oh, okay. Done till tomorrow then. Batteries are